Hi everyone, and welcome to a special video from Class 47 Peter. Now today's video is not going to be a review, because the model in today's video is a model that's discontinued. It's one that's been long since discontinued, and it's made by a manufacturer that doesn't exist anymore, that doesn't produce models anymore. So I didn't think it was worthy of doing a review on it, especially because this is quite an old model, but I thought I'd do a special video on it nevertheless. Now I'm not going to beat about the bush, because you all know what this model is. It's the Triang Railways Stephenson's rocket. Now during the weekend I went to the Great Central Railway model event. First time going to that event, had a whale of a time. I came away with a few items. I bought a Bachmann Baldwin Class 10, which there shall be a review on that, by the way, so keep your eyes out for that. And I also bought a ratio plastic kit signal gantry. And I also bought this. Now originally I was going to go for a Helgen Class 07. But then, when I came to, I think it might have been the Cheltenham Model Centre Stand. I can't quite remember. I mean, it's a second-hand model obviously, but I was just having a look around on the stand, and then on top of a shelf I noticed this, and so I grabbed it down off the shelf and had a look at it. Now in the past I hadn't thought too much about getting one of these models, but when I looked at it I just fell in love with it, and then I wanted it, and so I went and bought it. Now this is quite a rare model. There's not too many of these about. In fact, this is the first time I've ever come across one of these models in person. I know they did do a version, because this particular one I have here comes with the locomotive, the tender, and just a coach. They did do a version that came with 3 coaches, and also I believe there was a live steam model as well, which was it gauge 1? I think so. And later on Hornby, I believe, took over and produced a train pack of this with the locomotive, the tender, and 3 coaches. But they don't make these models anymore of the Stephenson's rocket. And I paid, now I have seen these go over £300 on the internet, but for this model I paid £125 for this, which I think is a bargain. Now the model does indeed run. It runs very well, because as soon as I got back I put it on the track and had it running around the layout. I did have to a good clean though, and I also had to clean the wheels as well. Quite a bit of dirt did come off the wheels. But anyway, so I'll get the model out now so we can have a better look at it. The packaging is quite worn. It's got wears and tears on it, but that doesn't really matter. So here's the coach, which I'll just take out of this card tray. Then I'll take out the tender. Also have this figure here, which I'll come on to in a bit. And then of course we have the locomotive itself. So I'll just take off the elastic band, and I'll just carefully remove the locomotive from the box. And there's a couple other things in here I think. We have this, which I'm not sure what this is or what it's for. It was in the box anyway. I think inside here there's just a few bits of packaging inside there. So I'll put the box to one side. And here we have the model itself. And it's going to be something quite different to have running around on the layout. But I never thought I'd see the day. I never thought I'd ever get the chance to own a model of the Stephenson rocket, and now I've got one. And it really is an unusual but a fantastic looking thing, I think. I mean, considering this is a old model, the detail on this model is very impressive. I mean, just look at the chimney for a start at the front there. I mean, that just looks stunning. And also, you have these details here down the side of the chimney that run down on top of the firebox there, which is attached to the chimney. And just as well, you even have this separately fitted metal handrail there, down on the sides of the model. And also, just look at the rivet detail as well on the firebox. And the fire hole door there. I mean, that just looks really, really good. And it's rather nice to look at as well. And here we have the coach that comes with the model. This coach does have plastic wheels with metal axles, and there's no seats inside this, but then again, this is an old model. I mean, this came out on the market long before I was on the planet. But I suppose if you wanted to, you could scratch build some seats to go inside the interior there if you wanted to. But I mean, there is some nice detail on the coach as well. I mean, this coach does have a buffer missing on the one end, but that doesn't really matter too much, if I'm honest. But then again, I might consider actually making a couple of resin casts of some of these buffers and put one on there. But like I said, it doesn't matter too much. I mean, there are a few little marks on the model, such as on the handrail there, as you can see. But it has still got a value though. And it is still in rather good condition. There is some nice detail on the tender as well, actually. Again, just like the coach, there is plastic wheels on the tender, but then again, this is an old model. So when this model came out, a lot of the rolling stock had plastic wheels. But just look at the colo though inside the tender. I mean, that does look quite nice. Even the detail, such as on the wooden barrel here on the tender, which I believe that would be storing the water in. Could be wrong though. But yeah, I mean, just look at that. I mean, that just looks fantastic. Now with this model, I had a fireman. Now, these models did come with a driver and a fireman. I didn't think if they did originally, but I have done a bit of research on this, and this model did indeed come with a driver and a fireman. However, I've only got the fireman here. The driver is missing. So, I mean, it will just be a case I might just get an ordinary figure and paint the uniform black. But it doesn't really matter too much. And so the fireman will stand on the tender like so. Like that, although he won't entirely stand up in there by himself, so I might have to glue him in. Because I have to, excuse the giant hand in the way. I will have to put them on the sides there though. On the sides of the tender, because if you try and stand them in the middle, obviously they're not going to be able to fit in the tender. But yeah, I will get a figure painted up and put a driver in there. It might be a case I might decide to touch the fireman up a bit, because there's a few bits of areas, particularly on the shovel and the coal, I might touch that up a bit. Actually. It doesn't look like it's been painted all that well. But it looks nice. Okay, so the Stephenson's rocket is now on the track. Now before I get her going, there's a few things I want to talk about. First of all, to get this model going, it has had a bit of a service. First of all, the chimney wouldn't quite sit on properly because it kept popping up and coming loose. Because basically there's two screws on the ends of the side rods here. You unscrew them, you remove this handrail around the side, then you just simply pop off the chimney and then the body comes off. Now the chimney kept coming loose, and when that was happening, when it kept popping off and coming loose, the body was then loose. So we've had to sort that out. We've pushed it down on quite firmly. Also, even though I had cleaned the wheels, I had to give them a bit more of a clean. And also what we did do was, on the gear just here, and also on these parts of the side rods there, we put on some super grease. And the reason we used this stuff is because it was running a bit iffy, if I'm honest. So to get it to run better, a lot better than what it is now, we just simply put a bit of grease on. Used a very small brush and just simply brush it on the gear there and on these parts of the side rods. Something else I had to do in regards to the foot crossings I have. This particular part here, which I've made, which has been made from card and painted, sits in the middle of the rails. Now for some reason every time this loco was going over it, it wouldn't quite run over them smoothly. It would stop on the particular part of the section where the foot crossing was, and you have to simply push the model for it to get going again. I think it might have been catching on this actually, so I've had to remove it, and I might have to trim this down actually before I glue it back on. But apart from that though, the model is now going very nicely. Something else that was happening earlier actually was running the model. There were sparks coming out of here, just where the screws are. I think there might be a bit of dirt there, so I might have to clean those up a bit possibly. Although it seems to have stopped sparking as much now. And also I did slacken the screws off a little bit, particularly the screw inside there and the screws here. So we have done a slight bit of tinkering with it, but she's now going fine. But anyway, so enough with my talking, let's get her going. And as you can see, she's flying along with no problems at all. The coach is a little bit rattly there, but then again it is quite lightweight. Slowed down a tad there, but she's running fine. And a lot better than what she was doing before. Because before she wasn't running this well. So that servicing we've done has been very beneficial indeed. Excuse me stuttering there. Also bearing in mind that the Stephenson's rocket wouldn't be going this fast in real life. I mean, it's doing a scale speed here of what, 80 miles an hour. In real life, the real Stephenson's rocket would not go that fast. So, scale speed, it's a bit unrealistic, but it's something to enjoy though, running around on the layout of the wires. So that brings us on to an end of this video on the trying Stephenson's rocket. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, but before I sign off, just one thing I do want to say is that the Stephenson's rocket will not be running all that often on the layout, so don't expect her to be appearing in every Model Railway video from now. She will only get run every once in a while, so when she's not being used she will stay in her box most of the time, because it's quite an old model and I don't want to wreck it or in any such way, because it's quite unique and it's a lot older than any of the other models I have in my collection. And to be fair, a model such as this right here, it's not the sort of model that you have to use every day, is it, if I'm honest? So the Stephenson's rocket will only be getting a run every so often, to be honest. You can even smell the trying motor as well, which is actually quite a good smell, that is. It smells great. But I'll give the Stephenson's rocket a rest now. Also, I have found a figure to use in the Stephenson's rocket. I will get this figure painted black, and then I'll glue him and the fireman inside the tender. So thank you for watching this video on the trying Stephenson's rocket. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do check out my other content if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again soon for the next video. Take care.